We've seen the reading workshop. Let's take a look at the writing workshop. The first unit of study that the fifth graders will engage in is the personal narrative with an emphasis on revision. Let's take a look at Ben's writing. This is writing that occurred in Ben's RWN. It was just a seed idea, some writing about a go-kart experience he had had. Later, Ben goes to yet another draft, and he employs a number of the revision strategies that had been taught during the writing workshop, during the mini lessons, the direct instruction that occurs at the start of every writing workshop. Ben pushed forward to a second draft, adding revision segments and taking away other things. He moved yet to a third draft, still pushing further, nurturing, growing ideas. The revision process that I teach can best be described with the acronym STAR. I tell the boys, don't forget to STAR, boys. And STAR means, through the lens of revision, substitute, take things out, add to the text, and rearrange the text. Eventually, Ben took his third draft to a final draft, publishing it for everyone to see. Ben had a wonderful time sharing this at the celebration where he read his piece to his peers. Fifth grade boys will also write a personal essay. And a personal essay is a type of expository writing, multi-paragraph writing that is driven by a thesis or claim. In this case, Jack's thesis is grandpas are awesome because, and then he switches pronouns to he plays hide and seek with me and watches soccer with me. So we can see what he's doing, his claim being that his grandpa is awesome because of the following reasons. And in the paragraphs that follow, Jack goes to prove that his grandpa is awesome. Here is body paragraph 1, again, his first draft. And my grandpa is awesome because he listens to me. There's his first topic sentence to support his thesis. And then he goes on to develop it. Jack then goes on to his body paragraph 2, and again with topic sentence 2 to support his thesis. My grandpa is awesome because he tells me stories. And then Jack goes on to develop that topic sentence. Yet again, in body paragraph 3, Jack does the same thing, this time saying, my grandpa and I are always playing hide and seek. In other words, his grandpa is awesome because they always play hide and seek. And the development of that topic sentence. Jack then went to write a concluding paragraph, finally, eventually, publishing his first personal essay entitled A Connection. Fifth graders will also do a mini research project. This one happens to be called Author Investigation. Here are Charlie's notes after doing some research on the internet. His author is Darren Shan. You'll notice stars and O's and squares and triangles, and these are symbols that help with the organization of his writing, all of which will be taught during the unit of study. How does one organize notes so that the writing can be clear and coherent? Eventually, Charlie went on to publish his small mini project on Darren Shan and to share it with his peers. This is Christopher's final draft of Trenton Lee Stewart's life. He entitles it A Child at Heart. Over the course of the year, your son will be expected to produce 2 to 4 pages of writing each and every week. The majority of the writing is self-selected. It can be nonfiction, fiction, poetry, letters. It's his choice. It's so important that boys become fluent in writing as a precursor to the more formal types of writing that he'll be expected to do. What might some of these pages in the RWN look like? Well, it could be a piece on Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. It could be a fiction piece with a setting of 2080. This particular writer felt so passionate about this seed that he wrote about it over a course of several days. Here is Xinghui's sketch before writing. I encourage a lot of visualization before writing, and once Xinghui had an entry point, he then began to write. This is a piece written by Teddy. He had gone to an exposition at the Legion of Honor and decided to write about it. He also had gone to a lecture about the Muslim religion, and he also chose to write about that. Benji was an artist, and the boys always enjoyed his artistic endeavors. And of course, Duncan, such a gifted artist. This writer here decided to cut out an article in the newspaper and then to respond to it. There's all sorts of writing that can occur in the RWN, and in the course of the year, boys will be expected to engage in this manner. Grammar is important. My mantra to them, to my students, is boys, you will be judged by your correctness as much as by the power of your ideas. So I teach grammar in mini lessons through direct instruction. I teach proper capitalization rules. I teach the difference between sentence fragment and sentence and run-on and comma splice. I teach the proper conventions for writing titles using italics, quotation marks, underlining. I teach subject and predicate. It's important that the boys not only identify subject and predicate, but more importantly, it's important that they understand what the subject and predicate is of a sentence so that they can deconstruct sentences by Beverly Cleary and Roald Dahl and C.S. Lewis and see how the structure is not always subject, predicate, that sometimes authors will use a dependent clause in front of the subject predicate, or else start with the subject and predicate and then move to a dependent clause. this language of grammar and parts of speech is important not just for identification, but to be able to use grammar terms in order to grow as a writer in this scenario. I teach the unforgivables. 222, it's, there, then. I teach the power of verbs. What is a verb? What is the difference between a strong verb and a weak verb, so that strong verbs can be employed in writing? There are a number of books that will be used in the course of the year. In the first semester, we use Spell It Right, which is our spelling program. The second semester, we'll use Vocabulary from Classical Roots, which is a vocabulary program based on Latin and Greek roots. There is a cursive practice book, which we will work out of. And those are the textbooks. I would like to leave you with 3 quotes that speak for themselves. They are the lens by which I set up my classroom. I want the boys to read. I want them to write. I want them to grow in their literacy lives. Thank you for taking the time to view this introduction to English 5th grade.